You set the tone with how others interact with you, and it all starts with self-respect. If you're someone who doesn't quite know how to really build up more self-respect, then this video is for you. Self-respect is an everyday discipline to love who you are, to really cherish and understand that you are the person that you yourself value, respect, and enjoy spending time with. People who have higher self-respect towards themselves actually understand that they have to look inward first in order to cultivate more self-respect. Discovering your self-worth, your happiness, your values is a great way to understand more who you are and start respecting yourself more, which also eventually leads to others respecting you more. I must admit that I did not always have high self-respect towards myself, and it took me years to understand what were the things that I needed to work on and understand what were my core values. In this video, I wanted to share some of the actions that I actually took, how I understood better which areas of my life needed to be worked on so that I could respect myself more. And we start with nothing less than accepting who you are. And yes, it's not as easy as it sounds to be. How can you accept those parts that you don't actually love in yourself? Start paying more attention in which situations you talk negatively to yourself. These can be situations, interactions with other people. These can be events where you're trying to really succeed and achieve something, and you might be talking to yourself really negatively and putting yourself down, making sure that you shouldn't be even trying because there is no point, because you don't believe in yourself, because you're not worthy of achieving that which you are pursuing at that moment. We all have this inner child who acts as us when we were children. Understanding that this inner child you have, which comes out every now and then in triggering and frustrating situations, accept this behavior, accept the thought patterns of this child. This inner child is actually someone who you need to comfort and not be putting down. So start telling yourself that it's okay to feel what you are feeling and sort of embrace them. Understand that they're not going anywhere, because the more you push them away, the more they will try to get to the surface. And start doing things that you actually love doing. If you're not quite sure what these are, just try out new things and you will see in which situations you radiate. Become more aware of your likings and your dislikings, because this builds your self-esteem and your sense of self. The second thing is to find your internal happiness. What are the things that you enjoy doing, like truly love and enjoy doing? Those people that you like being around with, places you like to visit, and those things you like to experience. And really just become brutally honest with yourself and what you like. Because we oftentimes might be telling to ourselves, like, maybe I shouldn't be liking this because is not perceived to be as valuable or interesting. So we might be choosing things that we like to do because of the outer world and the expectations of others. Start doing things that you enjoy doing and find your why. And once you understand, you are more able to then validate yourself through meaningful activities. The third thing you should be doing is to identify your values. This can really be a tough one if you've never looked within yourself and you don't quite know how to understand or know what your values could be. Here are some questions you can ask yourself to get you to the right direction with your values and understanding more what your values might be. Ask yourself questions like, what kind of relationships do you enjoy being in? These can be romantic relationships, just friendships, colleagues at your work. Just really be honest with what kind of people you like spending your time with. What does security mean to you? Where do you feel secure? Is it in your home? What kind of events, situations, or people do you feel secure around? For me, for example, I love being at home. I'm really a homebody, and once I accepted this within myself, it was way easier for me to then go out, because I always knew that I was able to come back. I was also more able to invest in my home and to really build this home for myself, because I knew that it was okay for me to really foster this safe space for myself. Another question is, what kind of accomplishments are you proud of? It could be that you're an awesome parent or a sibling or a sister or a spouse. Or it could be something like you started a business even if you never believed in yourself, or you graduated out of university and you never thought of graduating from there. You started to do daily walks. It could be anything that you feel proud of, even the smallest things. Then I'd want you to imagine your ideal environment. So what is the environment that you like being in? Do you enjoy spending time in one of those places? And what are the reasons why you like spending your time there? Then the last thing to really look at would be, what kind of situation do you remember experiencing that you felt really triggered or frustrated in? These could be situations where you felt disrespected or hurt. Try to also think about, why do you think you were triggered? These questions are a great way to start understanding your core values, what they are, and how to really move more towards those. The fourth thing that I feel is the most important is definitely you have to start setting boundaries. Setting boundaries might not be easy, because if you've always felt that you were a people pleaser, or maybe you don't want to hurt anyone's feelings, or you avoid conflict completely, then setting boundaries is something that you might not have the courage to do, because these will eventually make people around you feel a bit more uncomfortable. Because once you are setting a boundary, you are telling this person how to treat you, and if they don't like the boundary that you're setting, usually means that they are not ready to treat you as you are expecting them to. So boundary setting is very important, but it's also very difficult, because there is no one set of ways of how to do this. Because knowing how to communicate properly what are your boundaries and when you feel disrespected or hurt, and then also somehow being detached from an outcome or people's opinions or their comments about you. These are huge things in understanding what your boundaries are. One thing that I really paid attention to was any time that I would feel guilty about anything happening in my life, and especially if the guilt was coming out of nowhere. So it wasn't something I did where I knew that the things that I was doing were not quite right, but these were things like if I would not go to a specific event, or it was something along the lines of me being honest about my opinions on some issues, maybe health issues, maybe just others' values that I was disagreeing with. All of these things will definitely somehow trigger you. So once you notice that there are events around you and happening in your life that you're being triggered from, we can always try to communicate our feelings and opinions to others, but people are not always ready to hear those things. So learning healthy communication is the key to setting boundaries. Start prioritizing yourself and your time. If you don't feel like going to an event, you don't have to go there. You can decline politely. And if saying no to things might feel a bit intimidating to you, then again, ask yourself, why is this? Is this person somebody who might be bullying you into going or bullying you into doing something? Then this person is definitely not on your side. If you're not feeling safety with specific people, then it might be time for you to let these people go. The fifth and the last thing is stop undervaluing yourself. Are you playing it safe because you don't think you can succeed? We're oftentimes the ones who really criticize and downplay our possibilities and don't let ourselves sort of bloom into the flower that we are. Even if you're not noticing it, but having negative self-talk and talking yourself out of great opportunities or maybe a bit of challenging experiences that might really change your perspective on life. We really talk ourselves out of those things because we feel that we are being judged by others because we're not as good as we'd want to be, or because we're doing something that is outside of our character. And a lot of people around us might be surprised that we're trying something new, because they're usually holding an image of you, of your experiences and your opinions, and if you decide to change, that is really something triggering for them. We're usually afraid of others' reactions. And once you start valuing yourself and really taking yourself to these events, taking yourself to these experiences, letting yourself see the world, learn new things, become another version of yourself and the concept that you have of yourself, it will definitely trigger some people and maybe even scare some people out of your life, because they're seeing that you're changing, and change is usually painful. But start taking notice of small things and accomplishments that you enjoy doing, and the things that really bring you comfort and even a bit of that feeling of success, like you're succeeding in something. Why wouldn't you continue doing that? Because somebody else might be jealous, somebody else might be judging you. So understand that these people are not in your reality, and stop undervaluing yourself and just actually start valuing yourself instead. If you have difficulties in expressing yourself, it's usually because you're around people that don't let you express yourself in your authentic way. Look closely at the circle that you're in and whether these people really want the best for you, or whether they're just upkeeping the version of you that you are now. Discover the power of inner work and start building your self-confidence. Just trust that you're worthy enough to be investing in your time, in yourself, in your physical appearance, and things will start changing. When you notice that you're enjoying your life more, you're not talking yourself down all the time, and really start investing in yourself and building yourself both physically and mentally, I promise you, you will start seeing a higher level of self-respect. Okay, this is all this week, and I'll see you next week.